Well, unfortunately, a microwave weapons victim has died by suicide again. Um, what many know, but most haven't yet accepted, is the power of microwave weapons uh, on the human body. This man here, Texas Roadhouse founder and CEO, died Thursday after a long battle with, I guess we can't say the word online now for some reason, including severe tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, his family said. The symptoms associated with that are also going to be fever. And of course, we'll give you a quick, this is what he was hearing.
In late 2016, we want to play you a bit of a sample of what they heard. Listen. Now, Dr. Marsiegel, Fox News medical correspondent, here to tell us more. So that sounds like just like kind of a small thing, but this was being done over time, and it had a real impact on folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does have a real impact on folks. And it wore this guy down to the point where he couldn't fight anymore and gave up and unfortunately took his own life. You know, a lot of people out there that come to be understand that they're being exposed to microwave weapons, which are, of course, nothing more than cell phone communication beams just pointed at the human head. You know, they come to know it, but this guy had no idea. You know, he probably just went to his doctor, and his doctor, who is just a waste of space and who should know and understand this, and many doctors do, but not all. Unfortunately, you know, human history tells us that the medical community is really slow to act, and especially when there's more money in the pills, and they were probably putting this guy on a bunch of pills that were doing nothing for him, and because they weren't actually addressing the real cause of his symptoms, which were microwave radiation. Even if it's just incidental, the fact is, you know, we need to recognize what's doing causing this, even if it's not another human being deliberately doing it. This is the result of microwave radiation, period. We are all awash in it. We are all being sickened by it. Some people, it affects some people more than others. Some people fight through it and survive. Some people take their own lives. Some people snap and take other people's lives, and then often their own life. It has lots of effects. You know, the facts are right in front of us here. And it really is, it gets your attention here in the suicide rates of young people. Death rates from suicide in children 10 to 14 jumped by 178% from 2007 to 2017. And teenagers 15 to 19 experienced a 76% increase over that time. This is all caused by the same thing, including mass shootings. And we're going to listen here just a little bit more to this very smart doctor, one of the good ones. I wish the other doctors would pay attention to what he's saying, but we're not quite there yet.
We had more than 3 dozen diplomats were involved in both Cuba and China. Both of the brain, and influence not only microwave damage, and Putin knows about this. And what happens is microwaves damage the temporal.
Listen to this. This is a description of how it works, and listen to what he says very carefully.
Microwaves damage the temporal lobe of the brain and influence not only hearing, not only balance, but also behavior.
Not only hearing and balance, but behavior, like suicide. They make you feel run down, depressed, and or anxious. It reminds me, this is just like lead, the history of lead in the United States. It has this wide-ranging list of symptoms. It affects young people and adults differently. It can affect the genders differently. It can be mild and severe depending on the exposure levels. There are lots of factors, but we all now know the dangers of lead. And it took Congress, literally, they were just taking money from the industries. I mean, they had lead in the paint on baby toys and cribs for decades. And people knew how dangerous it was. The people making it knew how dangerous it was. It's like all things. The companies making these products, they know exactly how dangerous they are. They know that they're killing kids. And, you know, the social media companies, I mean, it may play a role, but as with all, now if we go on to the more nefarious side, if we accept that satellite microwave radiation is being deliberately used on people, we know that the Bioeffects of Selective Non-Lethal Weapons says very clearly to use it where there's a known weakness. Or another way to put it is to hide the symptoms in with something else. Now this man here was battling, we can't say it, but those symptoms are very real and they wear you down. And he just assumed, I have this thing, I'm dealing with this tinnitus, it won't go away, and he just gave up. Of course, he wasn't treating it properly. And this poor guy, again, probably had access to healthcare and was just being lied to by his waste of space doctors. It's really sad. It's really unfortunate. And another thing that's quite noteworthy is that in the bioeffects, body heating to mimic a fever is the nature of RF radio frequency incapacitation. The objective is to provide heating in a very controlled way so the body receives nearly uniform heating and no organs are damaged. Yeah, well, you hope. At such temperature, a considerably changed demeanor will take place with the individual. Most people under fever conditions become much less aggressive. Some people may become irritable. See that? You can become less aggressive or more aggressive, depending on the dose, depending on your personality, depending on who you are. It hits different people different ways. The subjective sensations produced a buildup of heat are far more unpleasant than those accompanying a fever, right? So this guy's got what he thinks is a fever. He's got tinnitus that who knows what he thinks that's from. All of the things this man was experiencing are the result of RF incapacitation. Now, this is the United States Army saying this in 1996. We are literally, just like with lead, we are decades behind. We'll see when we catch up. But, you've got a lot of people out there that have figured out that their symptoms are just, there's something wrong here. And they were smart enough to say, well, not just believe their doctor that said, well, sorry, nothing we can do, have some pills, and started to ask some questions and learn some things. The answers are right in front of you. I don't know how many more innocent people have to die, before something is done, but probably quite a bit more, because there's more money in the pills than there is in actually identifying this. There's more money in getting these people into doctors' offices. And when the path of least resistance is the path of most profit, the medical industry is not going to change, because they're going to lose a lot of money when they figure out that most of what's causing all this is literally radiation. Can you do anything about it? I don't know. We're all awash in it. I mean, if you're standing between a cell phone and a tower, you're being irradiated. That microwave beam is hitting your body, and you're partially going through or bouncing off or going around, but you're being irradiated. We're all being irradiated all day long. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but understanding what it is and that it's there is the first step. And the problem is that, there are things that can reduce the effects of microwave radiation. And those are also listed in the bioeffects that I was just reading from. And one of them is metal roofing, metal siding, things that block, metal blocks. We know that from Dr. John Hall's book and from antitinetusv2k.com. We know that binaural beats in certain frequencies, of course, as he said here, it attacks the temporal lobes.
And brain damage.
And brain damage.
And Putin knows about this. And what happens is microwaves damage the temporal lobe of
the temporal lobe. And this is why binaural beats work so well, because when you're listening to them on a set of headphones, the headphones are obviously on your ears, which are next to your temporal lobes, and they are sending the sound waves. Your brain, it creates neuroplasticity, of course, and it makes your brain sort of harder. It protects your brain from this microwave radiation. Because yes, you are being irradiated, but it's also interacting with the brain in a way that the binaural beats reduce. Nothing is ideal. It'd be like getting shot with a bulletproof vest. It's probably still going to hurt. Okay, it'll save your life, but it may not be fun. But there are things that you can do. But no one told this guy anything. He just suffered along and died. And we're talking about a guy here, a businessman, a guy who started a restaurant chain, who unlike people who have figured out that they're, if you want to call it, targeted individuals or microwave weapons test subjects or victims or whatever. Of course, now tons of U.S. government employees are now microwave weapons victims as well. So there's a large and diverse group. We figured it out. This guy did not, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us, in part because he didn't recognize what was actually happening to him and do something about it. And it's sad. It's sad. The U.S. government knows it. I've contacted my Congress people numerous times. I've taken quotes out of these articles about, how, this is overdue for a congressional hearing that's coming out of the article about the microwave weapons in Cuba and China and Russia. And I've gotten no response, or they just send you the newsletter. These people I called one of them, and the aide over the phone just literally, I could hear her eyes going crossed. Like her brain couldn't even grasp the concept of what I was talking about. Never mind that she'd not even heard of it. And, Congress is, just like with lead paint on baby toys, uninterested in protecting people. They do not care. They are the only one to extend their careers, and they accept money from big donors. And, even if this is just incidental exposure, you're talking about big, powerful companies who make this equipment and and make and use these technologies that don't want their products and technologies linked to these sort of results. And, Congress, I think, who was it? Wyden of Oregon there, he attempted to, get his congressional colleagues to pay attention to this. And they said it's a political hot potato. They don't want to deal with it because they don't want to sound, something. I don't know what. Because they don't want to be made fun of if they bring up this issue and say this is serious and we need to do something about it. So they care more about looking cool and extending their careers than they do about actually helping anybody, which is not surprising. So rest in peace, Mr. Kent Taylor. You will be missed.